Welcome to ground control. Hey, can you guys see me? I guess I better stand up for part of this episode of the Pilot's Lounge. Okay, so I'm going to start off with what's in the pipe so I can get this stuff off the table. So first we have the KF plane F-35 micro park jet. This is courtesy of Banggood. I want to thank them for sending this for review. This review may have been posted by the time that this Pilot's Lounge episode is posted. I don't know. If you hear noise in the background, that is the pitter-patter of rain. And it's monsoon season in the desert right now, so I'm grounded. So I thought it was time to make another episode of the Pilot's Lounge because I have some information to disseminate. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this off the table. Okay, now let me get my Papal glasses on. Alright, so in the pipe, I have a Volantex Phoenix version 2 2-meter sport glider, and this is plug and play. Half of the cost of this was a Father's Day gift, and half the cost of this came out of my hobby budget. So, and this is a fairly inexpensive plane for what you get. I can't wait to get this in the air. So this is going to be an upcoming review. Volantex Phoenix 2-meter sport glider. Alright, let me get this off the table. Okay, now this is a special one. Horizon Hobby Conscendo Evolution 1.5 meter high performance sport glider, and this can operate off 3S and 4S LiPo. Now, I am fortunate that on my tiny little YouTube channel, I have some excellent supporters of Ground Control RC. And one individual who will remain nameless, because he wants to remain nameless, and I don't blame him for that. I certainly appreciate my privacy. He wanted to see this plane reviewed, and I told him that it just wasn't in my budget. You know, this type of plane wasn't in my budget. He contributed financially a substantial amount of money so that this plane could be reviewed on Ground Control RC. There are some very generous people out there, and I happen to have a few of them that support my channel. And I am extremely fortunate, and I am extremely humbled that someone would do this. But he is an exceptionally generous person, because without his financial contribution towards this project, I would not have been able to purchase this plane, because I am on a budget, a fairly small budget. And so this would have been a major expense for me. So this review is going to be dedicated to him. He's responsible for this plane being here at Ground Control RC. And I greatly appreciate his support. He is a tremendously generous individual, and I am absolutely humbled that he would do that. So I'm going to be getting this in the air as soon as I can for review. Alright, so let me get this out of the way. Okay. So we have the Horizon Hobby Conscendo 1.5 meter sport glider coming up for review, the Volantex Phoenix version 2 2-meter sport glider coming up for review, and the KF F-35 4-channel. It's a 6-axis gyro, stabilized micro park jet courtesy of Banggood. Alright, and I have posted a poll on our Facebook page. The brushless conversion of the Eachine Mini P51D Mustang turned out much better than I thought it would. It beat my expectations far and wide with the way it's handling, the performance, and the amount of flight time I'm getting with it. So I do all this in my spare time, and I would like to do another brushless conversion of a bush plane. I've done a micro warbird, I've done a micro park jet, brushless conversion with Flybear SU-35. It's another brushless conversion that just surpassed my expectations. I think I will have enough time to do another brushless conversion. I don't know if I'll have time to do two. So I put a poll up on our Facebook page. I have two good candidates for brushless conversion of a bush plane. And one is the Eachine Mini Cessna, and one is the Volantex Sport Cub 500, my absolute favorite beginner plane of all time. And even if you have a lot of experience, you would have a blast with that plane. I have a blast with it every time I put it in the air. But the Eachine Mini Cessna is a little bit larger and heavier than the Volantex Sport Cub 500. I think in order to get the performance out of that plane that I would want to have, it would have to be a 2S brushless conversion. The Volantex Sport Cub 500, I weighed it the other day with the stock weight of the against the stock weight of the Eachine Mini P51D, and the Volantex Sport Cub 500 stock is 8 grams lighter than the Mustang is, and so it should have even better performance in the air than the P51 Mustang, using the same power system and components for a 1S brushless conversion. So I'm kind of on the fence on which one of those I want to do. I think either one of those planes will be an exceptional flying plane if it was converted to brushless. So I put a poll up on our Facebook page for you guys to weigh in on it. And I put it up there. When I posted it, it's set to be up there for 20 days on our Facebook page, so that people can select which one of those two planes they would like to see converted to brushless. So far, I just checked this morning, and it's been up for 2 days. There's only 6 votes on it so far, and there's 3 for the Volantex and 3 for the Eachine Mini Cessna. So you guys are not helping. All right, it sounds like you guys are on the fence too, because they're at 50%. Both of them have got 50% of the votes so far. So if it keeps going that way, I guess I'm just going to have to flip a coin. But if you guys would like to see one or the other brushless conversion of one of those two planes, then weigh in on our Facebook page and select which one that you would like to see. All right, I did a lot of motor testing before doing the brushless conversion of the Mini P51D. 3 different versions of the Racerstar 1206, 4500 kV, 6000 kV, 7500 kV. I purchased a lot of props to test those motors on 1S, 2S, 3S. I've already published the results of all that testing as a downloadable zip file with all 3 PDF documents in it for each one of those KVs on our Facebook page. So if you guys are interested in seeing that data, you can download it from our Facebook page. I still have motors to test yet. I still have the Racerstar BA2216 1400 kV motor. I'm thinking about putting that in my Fun Cub 1100, which currently has a Racerstar 2212 1400 kV for even more power and better efficiency for longer flights. So I'm thinking about, depending on the thrust numbers, I'm thinking of putting that in my Fun Cub 1100. And then I also have a Racerstar BR 1408 2400 kV motor that I wanted to test, because the 1407s and the 1408s have turned out to be really great performing little motors. All right, also in the pipe, OpenTX model files group number 6. This is going to be 18 model files so far. So in model file group 6, the following aircraft are going to be in there, and that's the Top RC Lightning V2, the high performance sport glider, the Eachine E129 micro heli. Everything is working on the transmitter for that heli, and I am completely happy with the way it performs with TX16S. And the Eachine Mini P51D, because my setup is golden on that plane now. So the Mini P51D OpenTX file will also be in group number 6. I have already published the setup files for all three of those aircraft on the TX-16S on our Facebook page. So all the information that you need to set those aircraft up on your hobby grade transmitter for your dual rate and expo and the amount of control surface deflection, even the launch throttle that I use when I launch the planes, is all in that setup file. So if you guys want to set those up on your transmitter before I publish the model files, I know the model files make it easier, but the setup files are already there. If you want to use that information to set those planes up, there's the setup files precisely the way I have the aircraft set up when I'm out flying, and I'm completely happy with the way those are performing. Also, when you import my model files, make sure the first thing that you do is, other than change the protocol if you're using a different receiver, and make sure that you go in and zero out all of the sub-trim, because you'll need to set up your own sub-trim on all those model files. When I publish those model files, that's the model file that I'm using to fly the plane, so it has my sub-trim set up in there for centering up my servos. Your servos are going to need different sub-trim than what mine have, so don't forget to zero those out. The Mustang brushless conversion. I am currently working on getting the model file published. I took pictures of just about all the steps in the brushless conversion. So I'm going to be creating a conversion log that I'll create a PDF file of the conversion log that you can download if you're interested in doing that conversion, either the Mustang or a different one of those mini warbirds. It would even apply to the little bush planes like the Volantex Sport Cup 500. Anything that can use a 1-ash brushless power system. And I'll try to put together a show and tell tutorial so I can better explain some of the things that are in the conversion log that maybe I didn't explain fully. You know, take some of the questions out of the equation. So we're getting ready. I'm filming this before July 4th. We're getting ready for the 4th of July holiday here in the USA, and we're having a family reunion during that holiday. So I won't be doing any RC stuff during the 4th of July holiday. So it will probably be a week to 2 weeks after the 4th of July holiday before you see those things published, the model file, conversion log, the show and tell tutorial. But I'll get those up, I'll get those produced and get those posted as quickly as I can. The show and the conversion log will also be posted for download on our Facebook page, and then I'll put together a short YouTube video. Hopefully it'll be short, a YouTube video of the show and tell tutorial of the brushless conversion. So look for those. I also am wanting to put together a tutorial for downloading our tiled plans for our GFS aircraft, and trimming the tiles and assembling the tiles into a full-size sheet so that you can cut out your parts templates. I know there are some people out there that are building the GFS planes right now, the Nano Park Jet, the Mini Park Jet, the Micro Park Jet, and I've come up with a process for creating the tiled plans that should work on US letter format paper as well as A4. So the margins on the tiles are set such that if you have a decent printer, not an expensive printer, but just a standard printer that has a average capability of printing of a printable area, the tiled plan should work for every set of plans that I go forward with from now on. You should be able to print those on letter and A4 and assemble them without any problem. Your printer should be able to handle that. And if your printer can't handle that, you need a better printer. And I can't do anything about that. Okay, review updates. I got one update for you. And that's a Top RC Hobby Lightning V2, 1.5 meter sport glider, and crash. Okay, I had stated that I liked that plane well enough that I was going to replace it. And then a couple of days after the crash, when I had time to assess the damage, all the electronics survived that crash, less the LiPo. It did damage the LiPo. But even the plastic spinner and the prop were intact. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how those parts survived, but they did. So the spinner, the prop assembly, the motor, the ESC, the servos, the receiver, everything except for the LiPo, as far as the electronics, survived that crash. So I decided I was going to get a new fuselage and a main wing and just transfer the electronics into the new fuselage main wing. The horizontal stabilizer was the only part of the airframe that, you know, was unblemished. So I contacted Top RC, and Top RC apparently is just an OEM. They do sell under their own name their aircraft, Top RC, but I guess they primarily make aircraft for other brands. They do not sell directly, which is unfortunate. So, and they seem like a really good company. I emailed them a request, you know, for information, and they responded in less than 24 hours. And they, you know, I was emailing them back and forth. They were very, very responsive. I would say 90% of the vendors and the manufacturers that I send a request to for information, I never ever get a response. So I was pretty impressed that Top RC not only responded, but responded in less than 24 hours after they received my request for information. So, but they do not sell parts directly. So I contacted Banggood and I said, look, I said, this is a fairly expensive plane. I said, you guys don't have any parts listed for it. Are you going to be carrying parts for the Lightning V2? And I was told, no, they don't have any plans to carry the parts for that plane. So I let Top RC know that. Top RC sent me a link to a US vendor. And it seems like most of their vendors are in the UK. I don't know why that is. But they had one vendor that they sent me a link to here in the USA, so I contacted them. And I said, look, here's my situation. I've got this plane, I crashed it, I need a new fuselage and a main wing. They said, well, we don't carry that plane, but we have this plane, we can give you a 10% discount on. And I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I said, so you guys don't sell the parts for the planes? And so they don't sell the parts either. Top RC, if you go to Top RC and you look at the Lightning V2 and any of the other planes, they have a complete list of part numbers for all the parts for their planes. So I don't understand why these vendors are not carrying parts for these planes and apparently aren't even willing to order the parts for you. So I want to make you aware of that. So I've decided not to replace that plane. It's a shame because it's a beautiful plane. It's a very high performance plane. Like I said, that is probably the highest performing plug-and-fly factory plane that I have flown to date. And I absolutely wanted to put that plane back together. But now what it looks like I'm going to have to do, and I thought, okay, well, let me see if I can find a kit then. If I can't find the parts, maybe they sell a kit. Well, I couldn't even find a kit for it. You know, all I could find was the plug and fly. And I can't afford to have it shipped from the UK, from some vendor in the UK to the United States. And I didn't want to purchase the plane, you know, from scratch if something happens to it, I can't find any parts for it. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. I didn't think that that was going to be the situation with that plane. I thought surely a $311 plane, you're going to be able to get parts for it. I mean, you can get parts for the Eachine Mini P51D. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why vendors are selling these expensive planes and they're not carrying parts for them. So So that's where I am with that. If I will continue to try and search out parts for that plane to see if I can get a fuselage and a main wing for it to get it back in the air, because I would absolutely love to get that plane back in the air, and I'm just devastated that that happened on just the third flight on that airframe. But I can't afford to spend $311 to buy that plane, and then if something happens to it, not be able to repair it. You know what I'm saying? So if I was rich, that wouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, I'm not. So it is a problem. So if I can't find the parts to put that plane back together, then I'm going to have to use the components. I guess what I could do is buy a different kit, kit that I could find, and then transfer the electronics from that fuselage, that airframe, to the kit, and then I at least have a functional plane again, a 1.5 meter sport glider. So I don't know. I'll keep searching for the parts, and if I find them, I will let you guys know and let you know where you can find them. And if not, then I'll find a kit somewhere, and I'll transfer the electronics, and I'll let you know how that goes. So that's the situation with the review update on that plane. All right, glue and fly series projects. I want to get another airframe done before the end of the year. I have not abandoned a T-33 project. I'm just stumped by it. I don't know why I cannot get that plane stabilized. So I started off with the main wing with very little dihedral. And on the maiden flight +1, that has been the most stable that plane has been in the air. But it had a stability issue. It's like the wings want to constantly rock back and forth. So I increased dihedral, and I took it out and tested it. It was worse. So I increased the dihedral even more on the main wing, went out and tested it. It was even worse. So I thought, maybe the KF airfoils are too far back. Maybe the center of lift is too far back, and it's trying to lift the back of the wing. So I trimmed the KF airfoils and made them shorter, you know, from front to back. Took it out and tested it. Same. It was terrible. The more I worked on it, the more unflyable it became, the less stable it became. So I'm kind of stunned by that. So the only thing that I can figure out with that airframe at this point is that maybe the KF airfoils just do not work very well with that type of wing. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild it. When I rebuild it, I'm going to make my wing removable. So if I have to change the airfoil or something, I'm not having to rebuild the entire plane from scratch. I thought the fuselage looked really good. I'm going to make a couple of changes to the fuselage on the redesign before I build it again. I'm going to make the main wing, the original wing was 22-inch wingspan. I think I'm going to go ahead and make it a 24-inch wingspan. With the weight of the plane, I'm probably going to end up having to use a 3S power system on it instead of a 2S like I wanted, to be able to get the type of performance out of it that I want to. But I'm thinking that if I make that airframe, that main wing, on this next build of that T-33 with just a little bit of dihedral and make it a traditional airfoil instead of KF2, I think that has got to take care of that stability issue with that plane. That's the only thing that I could think of at this point that would be causing the instability would have been the KF2 airfoils. So kind of strange, but I'm going to try and set aside time as soon as I can to redesign and build that airframe again and take it back out and do more testing. I want to get the T-33 project finished up, and then I would like to design and build another airframe before the end of the year. So fingers crossed on that project. I haven't abandoned it. I just left it alone for a while so that I could think about it and decide what course of action I needed to take to stabilize that plane in the air. So that's my thinking on that process. Facebook information. I don't know, you know, like I said, I just put a poll up on which of these two planes you guys would like to see converted to brushless. I post a lot of information on our Facebook page. Any information that doesn't require a lengthy video, I post it on our Facebook page. Even if it's just a short video, I'll post it on our Facebook page rather than on YouTube channel. But I post the setup files there for all the planes, all the setup files that I publish. The conversion logs, I will be publishing conversion logs on there. My OpenTX model files will be posted on the Facebook page. Mods and adjustment information, conversion logs, and any type of build log like that will be published on our Facebook page. Showcase of the GFS builds. If you're building one of our planes, I would love to get pictures of it and showcase it on the Facebook page. I've already got some on there. Photos from flight sessions and lots of other information we post on our Facebook page. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, you should at least take a look and see what information is there, because there's a lot of information and some of it might be helpful to you. So even if I have an update to a review or something, because, you know, once the video is published, you know, I'm not going to go back and recreate the video and remove the first one and publish it again. If there's something that needs to be updated, I'll do it in the show notes of the original video, and I'll post that information on the Facebook page. Sometimes I forget something. Sometimes I misstate something that needs to be corrected, so I'll do it there. So anyway, if you haven't taken a look at that, take a look at it. It might be valuable information for you. I think that concludes everything that I wanted to put out in this episode of the Pilot's Lounge. I want to thank all my patrons. I want to thank all my subscribers, viewers, people who post comments. 99% of the comments that I receive are very kind, very, very constructive, lots of good ideas and suggestions, and I'm very appreciative of that. I get excellent support from people for our little ground control RC. I'm humbled and I'm very fortunate, and people who contribute financially, I'm just extremely humbled by all that. So I want to thank you all very much. So until the next episode of the Pilot's Lounge, I will see you in the air.